get started.
Wes, what did you think of Sam's performance on Sunday?
I thought, like everyone else did, I thought he really played a great football game. Not only, working within concepts, but some of the off-schedule plays that he made. Avoids a free guy and keeps his eyes up and finds Justin, moves in the pocket, stole first downs with his legs once again, or just positive plays using his legs have shown up all year long, and then just made some great throws and great decisions throughout the game. No turnovers. It was winning football all around, but it was a little more than that. So.
The off-schedule stuff, just how necessary is that becoming today's NFL since defenses get faster?
I do think there are still quarterbacks that play at a very high level that aren't getting out of the pocket a whole lot and aren't doing a lot with their legs. I mean, I think it's just each guy has his strengths and some guys are probably do it too much and some guys never get out of the pocket, and you wish you got a little more of that from them. So it's just each guy individually, but Sam has shown a good feel for when to escape, when to kind of keep his eyes up and remain a passer, when to just bring the ball down, protect it, and get what we can get. And it's really helped our offense this year.
Wes, what do you think the key was to running successfully, especially at the end of the game when you had the opportunity to just run the clock out there with a 98-yard drive?
Yeah, a lot of credit to the O-line and the tight end group there. I mean, we were in 21 and 22 personnel and some bigger groupings. Trying to run the football. They knew it. We knew it, and those guys created some nice holes. We got some broken tackles from the backs throughout that, but I mean there were some nice holes, creases right down the middle on several of those runs, and then obviously Aaron capping it off with a really nice cutback on that last run for the touchdown. So just a lot of credit to those guys throughout the game. I mean they're. It's kind of those body blows. It's just there's some tough ones in there. That's kind of the nature of the run game. You'd like them all to be explosive plays, but there's going to be some ones and twos kind of mixed in. But just staying the course and hitting the blocks. There were some adjustments from some things they had done as far as technique wise that I thought the guys showed that they had corrected throughout the game when we came back to some runs. So really proud of the way those guys finished.
Wes, if you could think back, what stands out about the way Sam bounced back from that game in Jacksonville? Maybe just like even not the next game, but that next week of practice.
Sam has really, taken heed to. All the cliches, be where your feet are planted, be in the moment. Let's go 1-0 this week. Let's worry about this game plan. And I think whether there's been praise, which there has been a lot for him this year, even before the Jacksonville, there's been a lot of praise, and he hasn't let that affect him. And when games don't go necessarily the way we want to, or the way he wants to, he hasn't let that affect him either. So he's been consistent in his demeanor, in his approach, in his work ethic, and that's where we want to be. The most important game is always the next one, and for this week it's Chicago.
Remember after that Jacksonville game, you guys talked about having some discussions with him that week about getting back to things that he felt really good about scheme-wise. How much of that stuff has carried through this stretch of 4 games since then, or how much of the success has been just based on calling things that are comfortable for him and familiar for him?
I think I think he's hit a lot of different variety of plays throughout the year. So there's probably some themes in there as far as certain routes, certain concepts, but but he's made a lot of plays on a lot of different concepts throughout the year. So I think just as an offense, the mix of tempo is always kind of an edge for this offense, for our guys. There's a little less thinking and, hey, let's get up, let's get on the ball, let's put some pressure on them, use some tempo. Those things I think have helped us, and Sam has excelled in those types of plays. But you saw progressions throughout this game. You saw him quickly say no to a front side, snap his eyes back, feed and eyes, snap back, and he hits Justin on a play that's not on the highlight reel, and it's a 6-yard gain, and it's just good positive plays and kind of stacking those one after the other. I just think there's more of a comfort level with each week that we play, and doesn't mean all of it's going to be perfect going forward, but certainly feel good where he's at.
You mentioned that he's, kind of following the cliches of being where the feet, is at or at and all that. But how realistic do you think that he's not thinking at all about how this season could affect his future and affect, his long-term goals, whatever they might be?
Well, you'd have to ask Sam that, but in my mind, I would hope he would kind of say, hey, the body of work that I've put in so far is going to take care of the future. So really all I need to worry about is right now. I think we all know that, Sam is going to be a sought after type of guy from wherever that may be. So, whatever his future ends up being is I know all of us in this building are going to be happy for him no matter where that ends up being. So I don't think he has to worry about that anymore. I think the worry might have been, okay, this is my opportunity to play. All right, he's passed all that. He's proven the doubters, and he's proven that he can play in this league. So let's just make this the best possible season we can have, and starting this week.
Wes, Sam has kind of remarkable stats when he's running play action, just at the top of the league in yards per attempt, passer rating, things like that. What is it about him or something he does? Is it technically when it comes to the play action, or is that just kind of how this offense operates with some of the route concepts? What do you think is behind those numbers?
I think it's a combination of several things. I mean, I do think, where I've been with Kevin and where I've been with Sean, and we've generally been pretty successful on play action passes, and that has a lot to do with the players we've had, Sam's ability, the players around him, the receivers running those routes, making sure that the protection is at least going into the plan. Protection is number one, making sure that we're going to have the time and the ability to get some of those off, even if it means we've got to take a weapon of ours and chip the edge or whatever that may be, just to make sure that, if we feel like we've got some premier looks, then we can get to them, and then Sam's execution of the play and throwing the football. But it's a combination of a lot of things, but play action pass has been a big part of this system. And we've been fortunate to have some good players to be able to run some of these concepts that we try to think up.
Justin's hand up for about as long as you've seen one on the 52-yard?
Yeah, he kind of threw the mailbox up there, was about as wide open as you could get, and it was a tough pressure that they brought, and for Sam, I mean, just a phenomenal play by Sam, and then again to keep his eyes up, find Justin. I don't even, the nickel had a hard time finding where Justin was going to be after that, but yeah, just a great play by those guys. Can't say enough about Sam on that play, about guys straining around him. Okay, makes a guy miss, but everyone else is fighting and diving and trying to, you've just kind of seen that on some of our bigger plays throughout the year, that just extra strain by linemen, by backs, by guys running into Sam's vision. You know, these off-schedule plays sometimes don't happen. You know, guys have really taken to, hey, he can get out, and he's also going to keep his eyes up. You've seen guys working with him, working towards him, or taking it deep and trying to get the big play. So just a great play by those guys. You know, it's hard to get number 18 that open in this league, and usually it's a bust if it happens.
Jordan Addison's had quite a bit of success, or at least did last week against press coverage. What does he do to compensate the fact that he's not Calvin Johnson-sized receiver when he's facing guys that press up against him to get off of it and make plays like he did?
So he works his release, and he's fast. So he works his technique, he works his release. He's got quickness, and then he's got speed, and you know, you're kind of playing with fire one way or the other. You say, okay, he's not as big of a receiver, so let's get it in his face. But he's also on tape running by people every week, so you better get your hands on him if you are going to attempt that technique. So. And then he's got a great transition if you want to play off, and he can run up on guys' toes, and then he can get out of breaks. So just a really good player, and you know, consistently making plays for us, and I think he's, you know, improved a lot in 2 years here as well.
Wes, with the trick plays, I'm just curious what the thought process is of going to those in the red zone as often as you guys have, and what's just behind kind of putting those in every week. Or not every week maybe, but when you guys do put them in, how much do you focus on them going into the week?
We get some reps. We got more reps than we'd like maybe to admit sometimes when it doesn't work out like you'd want. But that's kind of the nature of some of those. I mean, you kind of fire off a bullet. You feel like you had a good look. They made a good play. Credit to them. But you know, we still feel like there's some things we can do better to make those things go. But yeah, it's not necessarily hey, it's going to be a red zone type play. Sometimes it's flow of the game, when to get some of these calls off, you know, situation in the game. It's not really, hey, we're just going to run these things in the red zone. But some of them show up that way, and then some of them, you know, across the league, some of them show up that way, kind of in that strike zone fringe area, whatever you want to call it, where, you know, you're able to potentially throw the ball in or score from one of these plays where you don't have to necessarily go through red zone offense and the tighter and more condensed defenses you face that can be challenging, you know, getting inside the 5 or the 10. But was really proud of the guys, you know, going 4 for 4 inside the 20 and scoring touchdowns on all those drives. The execution there, it wasn't all perfect. It wasn't all perfectly schemed, and the guys found a way to make some plays.
What did you think of Josh's big catch? I think it went for 26, but it felt like he ran 100.
Yeah, that was a great play between him and Sam. Really, you know, those keepers where you kind of got that late guy coming out. There's some sort of flat element, and then that guy coming out. We've hit a few of those this year, and Sam's hit a few of them where the defense can kind of match out a bunch of guys. It's really the only time, you know, you tell the Q that you can kind of throw across your body back towards the middle. As long as you know it's a safe area there. But what a great play by those two, and want to get that ball a little bit tighter with Big Josh. But heck of a play by him and Sam, and then we were all yelling for him to stay in bounds there at the end. But yeah. Sam's been able to find some of those. He's got a good feel for when he gets on the edge, kind of exhausting all of his eligibles there. And not the first time we've found one of those, but definitely the biggest gain we've had.
There's been just some success from the defense the last couple of weeks blitzing. Seems like overloading one side. I guess what's the key to taking care of that protection-wise when they do put seemingly everybody to one side of the line?
Yeah, it's challenging, right? it depends on what protection you're in, depends on structure of the front, but you got to get some guys over there. You got to send some guys over there to block them. And there are times where, depending on what protections you're in, the blitz on the long touchdown, they bring 3 guys up the middle, really wrap the third one inside, up the middle. So there's some smart defensive coordinators in this league, and they know how to attack protections, and they know how to get in front structures to try to get you in certain calls that they've either seen on tape or they see around the league that people are making to these types of structures, and then they find ways to get a free guy. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I will say, Sam being, one of the higher rated passers against pressures in this league, he has shown that he can make guys pay as well when they want to bring it. So that's been good for us. But we're always going back and making sure that we have answers for things, and if we see some of these pressures again, people like to repeat things in this league, and if they see somebody get home, a lot of times you're going to see it again. So we revisit those things and make sure that we've got an answer.
It's only one game, but could you get a big picture sense of any differences Chicago's doing now after making that change to head coach?
Yeah, the one game, it's hard to tell. It could have been the game plan for them, but similar. They're not changing the whole defense there for sure. But some of the coverages, things like that maybe showed up a little bit more this game than other games. But obviously, just could have been the San Francisco game plan. Could be a totally different game plan for us. Don't expect to see a whole lot of different things than they've done throughout the year. I'm sure they'll have a wrinkle or two that maybe he's been keeping in his back pocket that he's wanted to do and wasn't able to do. But they're a good defense. Got a lot of respect for those guys. With some of those guys up front, Dexter's playing really well, getting a lot of pressures. Gordon is a really good nickel. They can play him and against 11 personnel or against the bigger groupings, and he's still a really good player, run game. And then Jalen Johnson is physical, good football player. They've got a lot of good players. It was a battle the last time we played them. It's a division game. It's Monday night. I don't expect anything less this week.
Thank you, Wes.
Yeah.